Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Michek, and we're going to be calculating pH and pOH today using the H plus and OH minus ion concentrations. Okay, so one important formula that you need to know before we get into that is that pH plus pOH is equal to 14. You might have through doing some practice problems and looking at the practice problems on the previous video, kind of gotten an understanding that H plus and OH minus are opposite of one another. There is actually a pOH scale as well, just like there is a pH scale. So if you add together the pH and the pOH, you will always get 14. So this formula is going to be helpful in the next couple of problems. As well as we have two additional formulas that we will need to calculate. One is the pH, and you're going to be using the log button. So the log button on my calculator and most of your calculators is right here, log. And you can you don't need to hit second or anything like that. But notice it is the negative log. So you will need to hit negative and then the log in order to do the calculation for both pH, and then if we're calculating pOH and you're using the OH minus concentration, you'll need to hit that as well. If you forget these formulas, again, they are in your reference packet. Reference packet right here. These formulas all in a row right there for you. All right, getting started on a practice problem. We are going to calculate the pH and pOH of a solution with H plus concentration equal to 7.2 times 10 to the negative 8th molar. And then, of course, at the end, we want to know if that solution is acidic, basic, or neutral. All right, since we have an H plus ion concentration, I'm going to start with our solution, our formula, pH equals negative log of H plus. Okay. One thing you might have noted is we have a whole lot of formulas. That's great. That is definitely to your advantage, and that's one reason that I really enjoy doing these acid-based calculations. Because you will notice as I go through this problem, there's one specific way that I like to do this problem. However, you might go through and go, oh, wait, but I kind of wanted to do it a different way. I wanted to do this calculation instead. That is totally fine. There are generally several different ways that you can go about doing these different calculations. And I'll talk about a different way that we could do this specific problem at the end. Anyways, to get the pH, we are going to do this calculation. All right, so I'm going to show you on my calculator. So I'm going to hit the negative button. Let's see. I hope you can see that. Negative. And then I hit the log button. And then I'm going to type in my H plus ion concentration, which is 7.2. And then with that times 10 to the negative 8th, I'm going to hit second E, negative 8. And then since it puts whatever is in the log in a parentheses, I'm going to finish that parentheses. All right, hopefully you can see that. Move it around a little bit. Lovely. All right. Enter. And I get 7.1426 as my pH. Okay. So we're not quite finished. It also wants to know what the pOH is. And if you remember from the previous whiteboard, that the pH plus the pOH is always equal to 14. So if I subtract the pH from 14, I will get the pOH. Oops. That's a 4. All right, so I get 6.86 as my pOH. So back to that thing that I was talking about earlier, where there's several different ways to do this calculation. So for me, this was the easiest way, okay, to subtract from 14. Could you have done it another way? Certainly. All right, so what other way could you have actually gone about doing this? Well, we were given the H plus ion concentration. So you could have used your 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14th is equal to H plus times OH minus to solve and get the OH minus. Then use the OH minus value and plugged that into the formula pOH. And I'm running out of room at the bottom here, but plugged that into the formula pOH equals negative log of the OH minus. Okay, so there's multiple ways that you can do these problems. If you did it this way, totally fine. Double check your answer and make sure that you get 6.86 at the end. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to a different problem. If you chose to do this way again, check your answer to the next problem at the end. And just like with most problems that we do, if you feel or felt comfortable with this problem, you thought it was pretty easy, then you can do the next problem on your own. But again, make sure you check it at the end and make sure you have the correct answers. All right. Calculate the pH and pOH of a solution with OH minus concentration of 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6 molar. Just like the previous problems, there are multiple ways of doing this. Oh, I just realized we didn't answer our question to the previous problem. Go back. Reverse. Acidic, basic, or neutral. If the pH is 7.14, this is ever so slightly basic because the pH is slightly above 7. Now we're going to keep going. Calculate the pH and pOH of a solution with OH minus equal to 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6th molar. Is the solution acidic, basic, or neutral? All right. So again, I'm going to do this problem in a way that I find it easiest to do. If you want to use one of the other formulas, that's totally fine. Just check your answer at the end, because no matter which way you go about this problem, you should always get the same answer at the end. Okay, so I'm going to use the formula pOH equals negative log of the OH minus concentration. And my OH minus concentration is 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6th molar. So I'm going to plug that into my calculator, hitting the negative button, hitting the log button, and then hitting 4.5 second E to the negative 6th. And I get 5.34. Now notice that this is the pOH. It's not the pH. So I'm not going to use this value when I'm determining whether it's acidic, basic, or neutral. I'm going to use my pH to do that. All right, so I get a pOH of 5.35. Just like the last problem, I'm going to use pH plus pOH equals 14. I'm going to subtract my pOH from both sides to get pH equals 14 minus the pOH. And when I do that, I get 14 minus 5.35, which is the value I have for my pOH. And I get 14 minus, or excuse me, the pH is 8.65. All right. Looking at our pH and thinking about the pH scale. 0 to 7 is an acid. 7 to 14 is a base. 8.65 lies in that upper range. So this is a base. Okay. Those are our calculations with pH and pOH using the H plus and OH minus concentration. And I hope that you enjoyed it.